When Seo Yeon gets to the town where she lived as a child, Sung-ho picks her up and takes her to her house. He asks the girl on the way there if she went to the hospital to see her sick mother. The reason she doesn't answer is that she lost her phone at the station and is worried about it. She finds a cordless phone and plugs it in as soon as she gets inside the house. A few moments later, the phone rings, and Seo Yeon answers and hears a woman's voice, mistaking her for someone else and saying her mother is insane and crazy. That's when the woman hangs up because she knows she has the wrong number. Later that day, Seo Yeon goes to see her mother's doctor. The doctor tells her she has a brain tumor that can be removed, but it will be very hard to do, and she needs to be taken to an expert. She spends some time with her mom in the hospital, and the mom tells Seo Yeon that she needs to start making plans for her funeral. She walks out of the room when her mom tells her to ask if she can be buried with or next to her father. Seo Yeon gets very angry. Afterwards, she goes to see her dad's grave, which says he died in 1999. When Seo Yeon returns home, the mysterious phone call reappears. After some thought, she realizes that the woman is claiming to be calling from her own home address. That night, Seo Yeon wakes up to the sound of a loud crash in the house. She goes to see what happened and finds that a photo frame has fallen off the wall. But when she tries to hang it up again, she finds that the wall it was hanging from is fake and hides a whole other secret room. She breaks down the wall and goes into the room with a torch. Inside, she finds a box with different things in it, including a girl's journal. As she flips through it, a photograph of the girl falls out. After that, Sung-ho tells Seo Yeon that it's Young-suk after seeing the picture. Her stepmother was a kind of shaman, and she used to own the house. For some reason, he acts like he can't remember anything else from that time after telling her barely anything. Seo Yeon figures out that the picture was taken in 1999. Her mystery caller has been asking her to find a woman named Sun-hee. On her way home, she sees a store with that name. Later that night, she gets another call. The woman on the other end is screaming so loudly that her stepmother has to grab her and pull her away from the phone. The mother tries to burn her, but they fight and set fire to the room that Seo Yeon had found earlier. Seo Yeon walks over to the hole she made in the wall and sees smoke and fire on the stairs. After some time, the phone rings again, and Seo Yeon tells the woman that she knows it's Young-suk and has found a picture of her from November 26, 1999. Young-suk tells her that it's only the 18th, so Seo Yeon reads something from her book from the day before. When she makes sure it's the same as what she wrote, Young-suk gets scared. Even though she knows it sounds crazy, Seo Yeon tells her that her idea is that they are both living in the same house at the same time. She finds a story from November 18th in the newspaper to back up her idea even more. She then tells Young-suk to watch the news that night for a report on a plane crash. That night, Young-suk had dinner with her mom. The woman tells her that if she doesn't eat, she'll send her back to the hospital, so Young-suk starts to stuff her face. Hearing about the plane crash makes her mom mad, so she calls Seo Yeon again after seeing the news. Young-suk and Seo Yeon talk about the future. Seo Yeon talks about her favorite singer coming back to the music scene and new technology that sounds crazy in 1999. When Young-suk informs her that her biological mother has died and that the lady abusing her is her stepmother, Seo Yeon explains how her father died. Their house caught fire when she was young because her mom forgot to turn off the gas. Her dad died in the fire. Seo Yeon and her family go to Young-suk's house on November 21st, 1999, to look at it because they want to buy it. At this time, her father is still alive. Young Seo Yeon and her friend go upstairs and find Young-suk's room. They ask her stepmother to open the door. Young-suk calls older Seo Yeon again and lets her listen to her father talk when she gets to the door and realizes who they are. Seo Yeon hasn't heard his voice in 20 years, so this is a very moving moment for her. Young-suk thinks of a way to get her dad out of the fire by herself. Seo-yeon's father was meant to die on November 27th. Young-suk gets out of the house without her stepmother noticing and goes to the house where Seo-yeon lived before they moved. She is younger than Seo-yeon, and her mom is painting her nails while lunch cooks on the stove. After that, mom leaves, and Young-suk takes the key while Seo-yeon plays with her dad. Young-suk walks into the house just as the fire starts. In the present, Seo-yeon has her cell phone back, and the scar from the burn on her leg goes away. All of a sudden, her house, herself, and her room started to change. When Seo-yeon sees a lovely glasshouse garden, she goes downstairs and then leaves the house. When she walks in, she first sees her mom and then her dad. Neither of her parents don't understand why Seo-yeon cries when she sees him. She then hooks him. After some time, she calls Young-suk to say thank you. Seo-yeon spends time with both of her parents before sharing new music with Young-suk over the phone. They talk to each other more and more, and they get closer. Up until that day, she has to spend time with her parents and can't talk on the phone. She calls her a lot and gets mad when she doesn't answer. It's clear that Young-suk isn't feeling well when they finally talk again. At first, Seo-yeon hears screams on the phone. Then, she hears Young-suk's stepmother telling her to stay away from her or she will get hurt. Young-suk's stepmother used to perform an exorcism on her because she thought it would help her, even though the young woman begged her to stop. The stepmother spanks her and then chants over her crying face, while Young-suk says she's sorry in the hopes that it will stop her. Then, Young-suk's stepmother goes to Sun-hee's store and sees that Young-suk has already been there. Upon examining the woman's leg, she notices the injury. In the present, Seo-yeon can't help but look for Young-suk online. When she can't find her on any social media site, she looks for her address and reads a news story about how Young-suk died too soon during an exorcism her sister did on her. When Young-suk calls, Seo-yeon tells her that she thinks she's going to die that night. She goes to the tank and gets a knife. Then she goes to her room. She cries in pain as she throws the knife at the bed where she thinks Young-suk is sleeping. The woman isn't in the bed, though, as the stepmother finds out to her horror. Young-suk laughs at her and then puts out the fire to make her unconscious. When she gets home, she finds the knife in the foggy room and kills her stepmother because she wants more blood. Then she calls Seo-yeon, who is worried as she waits by the phone. When Young-suk tells her she's okay, Seo-yeon calms down. She also says she feels like she's born again. The next picture shows Young-suk finally leaving the house. She is happy to be free. She first buys herself new clothes and then treats herself to a meal she really likes. Seo-yeon greets Sung-ho when he comes into the family home to bring them strawberries in the present. The fruit makes everyone happy, and they thank Sung-ho for bringing it to the house. He's brought something else to the house before, but this time, Young-suk opens the door. Sung-ho sees her new clothes and likes them, so she tells him she wants to come in. When Sung-ho asks about her mom, she only wants to know which of her new things he likes better. She then leaves him alone in the den while she goes to get other things she bought. While this is going on, Sung-ho goes to the kitchen to take care of the strawberries and finds a bunch of stinky black plastic bags in the fridge. He moves one to make room for the fruit and drops it on the floor. When he picks up the bag, he sees that it's full of body parts. Just as Sung-ho starts to freak out, Young-suk finds him in the basement wearing the other outfit she had planned to show him. She's mad that he opened the bag, so she goes into another room to get the fire extinguisher while the man wastes time in the kitchen. On the other hand, Seo-yeon's family is having tea with him and his little dog right now. They are talking and eating strawberries. Seo-yeon answers the phone when it rings in her room. On the phone, she hears Sung-ho crying about the past, and Young-suk swearing that she ruined her new clothes. The call ends all of a sudden. When Seo-yeon goes back downstairs, she finds Sung-ho gone. She has a bad feeling about the talk she just had. He never even showed up, and her folks have never heard of him. She checks the fridge just in case, and then she goes to his fruit farm, but it's empty. While in the town, Seo-yeon checks in with the police and asks them if they know him. The older police officer knows about him and his fruit farm, but the younger one has never heard of him. What makes him ask Seo-yeon why she wants someone who has been dead for 20 years? The question shocked her. The police officer walks up to her and shows her his notes on the crime. In them, he writes that Young-suk killed him at her house. In the past, the cops have also gone to see Young-suk to ask about Sung-ho, before they knew she was the one who killed him. She tells them she doesn't know him when she really does, but one of the cops, the older one Seo-yeon talked to later, notices that her answers aren't adding up. The cop sees the strawberry delivery in the house, but Young-suk says she doesn't know him, and her mom isn't there to say if she's seen him. For the second time, she lies to hide her tracks. The police officer can tell she's not telling the truth and makes notes, which makes her nervous. The police officer sees that Young-suk is lying when she says something about a murder in the village, but she still leaves her house. Older Seo-yeon finally goes to talk to Sun-hee, the shop owner, to ask her about what actually happened to Young-suk and her stepmom. Sun-hee tells her that she thought Young-suk was a well-behaved girl who would listen to her talk about her husband for hours. Sometimes she would sneak snacks into her room, until one day she hurt her really badly. If it wasn't for Young-suk's stepmom, Sun-hee would have been dead. Later, Young-suk calls Seo-yeon as she thaws out the body part from her fridge. Seo-yeon picks up and immediately asks her if she killed Sung-ho. Young-suk lies to her, so Seo-yeon reads her a newspaper heading about the day she was arrested by the police as a serial killer and sentenced to life in prison. A life sentence doesn't sound too grand to Young-suk, so she drops the act, making it apparent to Seo-yeon that she really killed the strawberry farmer. Young-suk then begins questioning Seo-yeon about how the police found out that she committed the crime, and tells her that she will need her to find out how that happened so she can prevent her own capture. She won't let Seo-yeon forget what she did for her, and gets really angry when Seo-yeon keeps hanging up on her. Both women react very differently to the whole situation. One is terrified and crying, unable to do anything from her end, while the other is angry and vengeful, dialing Seo-yeon's number over and over. The cop keeps investigating Young-suk in 1999, seeing that she has some mental health issues. As Young-suk keeps trying to reach Seo-yeon in the future, she hears a knock on the door, and when she opens it, she sees her younger self there, together with her father. He tells Young-suk that they are looking for her stepmom, who was supposed to meet them at the realtor's office some time ago. Young-suk says that she must have fallen asleep and invites them to wait for her inside. Seo-yeon is with her father in the future as well. He notices that she's worried and asks her about it, but she says that she's fine. Her dad stops the car and makes her drive so that he can cheer her up. He tells her that she needs to be gentler with the pedal so that when she stops the car, she won't spill the coffee. Seo-yeon successfully does that by his instruction. Back in the past, Young-suk is getting ready to hurt him as he waits with Seo-yeon in the den. The little girl is eating one of the strawberries as she sees Young-suk approaching and spraying her dad with the fire extinguisher. In the present, Seo-yeon drives into a tunnel when she sees her dad vanishing slowly right in front of her eyes, and that version of the future crumbles away with the broken glass of the car. Cut to a terrified young Seo-yeon who backs away from her father's blood and the image of Young-suk killing him. The older version of her wakes up in the tunnel, without her dad. Young-suk approaches the littler version of Seo-yeon and tells her that her dad's death is her fault for not picking up the phone. Present-day Seo-yeon runs back to the house, finding it in an awful state and seeing the words, "Seo-yeon, answer the phone," written in blood on the floor. Sure enough, the phone rings and she had no hesitation in whether she should pick it up. Young-suk toys with her about the way she killed her dad, making Seo-yeon angry as heck, threatening to kill her. There's one problem, though. While Seo-yeon can't get to Young-suk, She has the younger version of her strapped to a chair, making her the one with the upper hand in the situation. Young-suk tells her that she has 1 hour to find out how the police will arrest her or if she'll hurt her mother too. Seo-yeon has an idea: how to get herself out of the situation and take down Young-suk for good. Her plan is to send Young-suk to a place where she has researched that an accident will happen and retroactively kill her that way. Seo-yeon sends her to a location where a gas explosion should happen, telling Young-suk that there she will find the man who discovers the knife with her bloody fingerprints. She waits to see it happen on her phone, but Young-suk manages to save her hiding again because she leaves the building before it explodes. Needless to say, she's very angry with Seo-yeon when she calls her back after. Young-suk shows her just how upset she is with her by leaving her on the phone as she burns her younger self with scorching water, and scars appear on the older Seo-yeon's body as well. To make it even worse, she plays Seo-yeon a voice message her mom left her dad saying that she's coming after them. And Young-suk doesn't stop there either, but keeps turning the figurative knife further by telling her that she was the one responsible for her father's death in the first place. It seems that her mom turned off the gas before she left the house that day, and that it was Seo-yeon who turned it back on, mistakenly thinking she was doing the opposite. In the present, Seo-yeon sees no other way but to actually find the information she wants, so she breaks into the police station to get her file. She opens the police officer's notebook and learns how they finally caught her, sending Young-suk to the right place this time. Young-suk finds the man when he discovers the knife with her prints that she thought she had disposed of and kills him with it too. The information vanishes from the notebook, but new information appears of her mom searching for Seo-yeon at the local police station. Seo-yeon sees a play-by-play of what is happening in the past inside the officer's notebook, who decides to help her mom when he learns the address where her husband and daughter were supposed to go to. Suddenly, all the information about Young-suk disappears from it, and the house begins to change again. Seo-yeon runs away from the house, but keeps on reading that her mom and the cop went to pay Young-suk a visit searching for her and her dad. Young-suk lies that they left the house earlier, but Seo-yeon's mom finds her hair bow. She and the officer asked them to search the second floor of the house, but found nothing there. Meanwhile, when Seo-yeon comes back inside the house in the future, she discovers that Young-suk has had a particularly prolific career as a serial killer. She comes down into the room she found at the beginning of the movie and finds the phone down there. In the past, Seo-yeon's mom had the idea to call her husband's phone to make sure if he's there or not. The mom uses Young-suk's phone to make the call and, instead of her husband, calls her daughter in the future, screaming at her to get out of the house. Simultaneously, Young-suk hits Seo-yeon over the head, and the line is broken. In the past, Young-suk kills the officer in front of her mom's eyes and asks for the phone. The older Young-suk taunts Seo-yeon as her younger self calls her on the phone. The women struggle for the phone until Seo-yeon knocks Young-suk out and grabs the phone. A simultaneous chase happens in both the past and the present, with Young-suk chasing after Seo-yeon and her mom in both timelines. They both hide in the same room as the homicidal maniac slams at the door. Suddenly, the phone rings and it's Seo-yeon's mom calling the police, but Seo-yeon from the future tells her to calm down and find a weapon. The woman finds a fire extinguisher, removes the safety pin, and waits until Young-suk opens the door. Unfortunately, the Young-suk from the past has the devious idea to get the mom out of the room by placing her kid in front of it, calling for her. Young-suk attacks her with a knife as her older self gets closer to getting inside the room with Seo-yeon. Before Young-suk can stab her mom in the past, she grabs onto the knife and struggles with her for it. Seo-yeon from the future sees the blood from the struggle on the walls as Young-suk comes into the room at last. However, Seo Yeon's mom tackles Young Suk in the past before she can strike the child, and they both fall over the railing. The older version of Young Suk vanishes from the future, and Seo Yeon finds herself in the desolate house alone. Later, Seo Yeon from the future runs to the graveyard, thinking that her mom is dead too. The woman, however, shows up there as well, smiling and asking her why she's crying. Seo Yeon is happy to have her mom alive still and realizes that she's actually kind of great.